Print, email, Facebook, Twitter. More Surabaya blast at police headquarters carried out by family riding two motorbikes. Media player, space to play, M to mute, left and right to seek, 0000:1700:0000:17. Police say a family riding two motorbikes was behind another suicide attack that injured 4 officers and 6 civilians in Indonesia's second largest city of Surabaya. Footage shows the motorbikes, each with 2 people on board, coming into a security post at the entrance to the city's police headquarters before at least one explosion. The 2 motorbikes pull up alongside a car and 4 officers manning the checkpoint. At the moment of the explosion, 2 civilians appear to be walking into the checkpoint just meters from the motorbikes. 3 of the officers at the checkpoint are standing right by the motorbikes when the detonation happens. Indonesia's police chief said the attack was carried out by a family of 5 that included an 8-year-old child. The young girl survived and is now recovering, he said. The fate of other family members is unknown. Police suspect the new attacks are also by extremists linked to the Jemaah Anshorat Daulah group. Clearly it's a suicide bombing, East Java police spokesman Franz Barung Major told a media briefing. We can't be open about all details yet because we are still identifying victims at the scene and the crime scene is being handled. He said the full extent of casualties was unclear. Media player, space to play, M to mute, left and right to seek, 0000:1300:0000:13. Indonesian President Joko Widodo said the series of suicide attacks in Surabaya was the act of cowards and pledged to push through a new anti-terrorism bill to combat networks of Islamist militants in the country. This is the act of cowards, undignified and barbaric, Mr. Widodo said on Metro TV. He said he would issue a regulation in lieu of a law next month to force through a new anti-terrorism bill if Parliament failed to pass it. Turnbull's sympathies for Indonesia, hits out at attackers. Australian Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull described the attacks as shocking and cowardly, and said he had written to Mr. Widodo expressing Australia's heartfelt sympathy. The brutality, the barbarity, the inhumanity, the blasphemy of these terrorists strains our ability to believe it, but it's there, Mr. Turnbull said. These people are the worst of the worst. They are threatening civilized nations, they're threatening civilized ways of life, they're threatening people's harmony and religion, they are debasing and defaming Islam, as President Widodo has often said. There was another attack on a different police station in the city last night, about 12 hours after 14 people, including 6 suicide bombers, were killed in 3 separate attacks on Surabaya churches. Members of one family were responsible for the church attacks, including a mother and 2 young girls wearing suicide belts. The first attack, at the Santa Maria Roman Catholic Church, killed 4 people, including 1 or more bombers, a police spokesman said. Minutes after the first, there was a second explosion at the Christian Church of Diponegoro that killed 2 people. Another 2 people died in a third attack at the city's Pantai Church, the police spokesman said. Indonesia's chief security minister said police backed by the military would step up security across the country. The president has commanded that police, helped by TNI, the armed forces, to exert all power to secure the nation, coordinating Minister for Political, Legal and Security Affairs Wiranto said. Media player, space to play, M to mute, left and right to seek, 00:0001:5200:0001:52. Unknown if attacks being perpetrated by one group. Director of the Jakarta-based Institute for Policy Analysis of Conflict, Sydney Jones, says it is still unknown if the recent attacks in Surabaya are being perpetrated by one group. This does seem to be part of a coordinated series of actions, and that would also be the first time we had such coordinated activities since the Christmas Eve bombings in 2000, she told PM. So it's been a long time since any group has shown this capacity. We don't even know for sure whether all of these groups, including the prisoners who mounted the assault on police in Jakarta, are part of the same group. Ms. Jones says possible coordination between Indonesian prisoners and those on the outside needs to be monitored. What's worked is good law enforcement and also individual attention to people in terrorist networks to then become cooperative enough to give additional information, she said. Part of the ongoing problem is the communication between various groups of extremists operating on the outside with some of their friends who are in prison, and there have been improvements in managing high-risk offenders, especially among high-profile terrorist prisoners, but there's a long way to go. I think one of the things to look for here is to see whether there was any coordination from within prisons with people on the outside. It's one thing to look for, but it's too early to say. ABC/Y's print email Facebook